What's good, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Drew. If you're new here, welcome. Please feel free to like, comment, and most of all subscribe to this channel because I am making lifestyle content that I think you need to see. Today's video, I'm in my room. I'm sitting on the floor. It's raining outside, so if you hear any thunderous sounds, that's what that is. I do have my cute little mug of tea here that is still steeping and very, very hot, so I'm gonna wait on that. But I just wanted to sit down and make this video because today is the 1-year anniversary of me arriving to my new home here in Atlanta, Georgia. Moving here was one of the most thrilling and scariest things I have ever done in my life to date. But here I am a year later, surviving, thriving, and continuing to grow. And honestly, I credit a lot of my growth in the past year to my decision to pack up my shit and move away from my hometown across the country. And if you are watching this video, I am just going to assume that you have the same yearning feeling in your soul like I did, where you just want to pack up your shit and go and start a new life. So voila, this is probably your sign that you need to do that. So today, I just wanted to sit down and reflect and talk a little bit about my journey. And if you are someone that, is thinking about moving, I'm gonna kind of give you some steps that I did to help prepare for my big move. So I was always that person that wanted to move and start my life somewhere else. But in all honesty, I was afraid. I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of what people may say. I was afraid of missing out on things, and I was afraid of failing. I'll say that twice because that is the truth. And I kept waiting for a sign. I kept waiting for someone to come into my life that would be down to move with me. I kept waiting for an opportunity that would force me to move away. And to be honest, those things never came. And that yearning inside of my soul for this new life that I wanted, this feeling inside of me just kept growing stronger, and the voice in my head that just kept telling me to just go for it kept getting louder and louder and louder, to the point where I just couldn't ignore it anymore. So in 2020, during the pandemic, I was just kind of over it. I was over feeling stagnant in my life. I was over being around the same people that I've literally known my entire life, who were just doing the same old things. And I was just tired of wishing and hoping that this life that I wanted would just fall into my lap, knowing that it doesn't work that way. And I just kind of had this epiphany moment where I was like, okay, I gotta go get this. I gotta go get the shit. And I just was like, if not now, then when? So with that, I took that entire year to plan, prepare, research, save money so that I could move to Atlanta, Georgia. I chose Atlanta, Georgia because it's booming in the film industry right now. If you don't know, I went to school for film and I have always wanted to be a part of the entertainment industry. So I chose Atlanta, Georgia because I did not have the desire nor the expenses to move to Los Angeles. And Atlanta, Georgia just felt like the next best thing because they are booming in the film industry. Plus, I just really liked the people and the culture in Georgia, and I just wanted to be around more like-minded people who had the same interests as me and who looked like me. So I chose to move to Atlanta, Georgia. But how did I do that? We're gonna get into it with step 1. I hopped on Google and I did my research. I started with what were the safest areas in Georgia to live, or in Atlanta to live? How much were apartments going for? I researched jobs around those areas to see who was hiring, what may be a good fit, just in case the current job that I was in wouldn't be able to transfer me. I researched ways to get my belongings from Arizona to Georgia. And because I was considering, continuing my education, I also researched schools and programs. So once I had a pretty good idea of how much money that this move may cost me, that's when I started to save my money. Step 2 is save money. Now, I see a lot of videos on here that are like, I moved across the country with $500 in my bank account, no job lined up, no place to live, but I made it work. And although those stories and testimonies are very, very inspirational, that was not for me. I am a chronic worrier, I'm a chronic planner, and I needed to make sure that when I got to Atlanta, I was going to be straight. So I gave myself a year, like I said before, from me deciding that I was going to move to my actual move date, that I was going to save some money. So each check that I got, I would either put half of my check away in my savings account, $100 in my savings account, or $200 in my savings account. Granted, at this time, I was living with my mom, so not a lot was expected of me financially, and I had minimal bills, and I understand that for some people that this is not the case, and I know that in those situations it can be harder to save, but I'm telling you, just give yourself a realistic time frame and just put away some money, whether that's $5, $10, $20 every paycheck or every week, whatever you can afford. Just put some money away. Honestly, once I had paid for like my U-Haul, for my apartment fees and deposits, for like groceries and like little home essentials, I roughly had about $4,500 to live off of, which may not seem like a lot, but I was able to secure a job pretty early on of me being here. So it just kind of, I was bringing in an income pretty early on. So I was able to be okay with what I had saved because I was bringing a little bit in. And that brings me to my next point, is try to get some sort of job secured. At the time, I was working for a bank and they were not able to transfer me in the time frame that I wanted to be transferred. So I literally had to put my 2 weeks in and quit my job, which was very, very scary. But in the middle of that, I was applying to jobs here in Georgia. I made a whole new resume. I put on the resume that I was moving, or I would be here at this certain date. And I applied to any and every job that I could get because I just needed money. It didn't matter to me. It was a very humbling experience. And honestly, day 4 of me being here, I got a call from a job that I had applied to like 2 or 3 months before that. And it wasn't the most ideal job. It wasn't the most ideal pay, but I took it because it was money, and money is what I needed indeed. So if you can, just talk to your job. If they are someone who can transfer you to different locations, to different states, great, do that. If not, then just really do your research and prepare and apply to as many jobs as possible. The next step would be to take a trip to where you want to move and spend a couple of days looking at the area, looking at apartments, and making sure that it's actually someplace that you can see yourself being happy in. Prior to me moving to Atlanta, I had been to Atlanta 3 or 4 times, but in November of 2020, I took a trip with my mom and we stayed in a hotel and we spent a weekend just driving around the area, going out to eat, looking at apartments, and just making sure that this is someplace that I actually wanted to be. Because I went during a time when COVID was still really, really popping, it was a little bit harder for me because not a lot of apartments were allowing tours and that sort of thing. So although I left my trip still not knowing where I was going to be living, I was still able to have that reassurance and that validation that it was still somewhere where I wanted to be and could see myself thriving. My next step would be to look for your apartment. Like I said before, my trip to Atlanta looking for apartments didn't exactly go as planned, so that meant that I had to do my search online. But it is 2022 now, and technology is amazing, and there's this thing called Google, and just technology is amazing and you can do anything. So I did my entire apartment search online, and I based my decision off of 3 things. Number 1 was how much for rent and how much the fees were that I would be paying a month for my apartment. The second thing was the pictures of the complex on Google and the reviews that people would leave of their experience living in these complexes or living around these complexes. And number 3 was the way that the employees in the leasing office treated me over the phone. That one is major, I'm telling you. Y'all don't even know how many apartment complexes looked amazing on paper, but once I called and they were so rude, I was like, oh, never mind, because the way they treat you over the phone says a lot about how your experience is going to be once you actually live in their complex, because you never know what you may need when at the time of move-in, if you're going to need maintenance, if something happens with your rent or some situation happens, they're not going to help you. So that was really, really big to me. And out of all the places I called, I literally had 3 apartment complexes whose staff was just genuinely kind and helpful, and that's just crazy to me. Like, I couldn't believe it. But literally be aware of that, because people were very, very rude. They were not helpful. They acted disinterested in helping you, and it just blew my mind. And that was not some place that I wanted to live. The next step is figuring out how you're going to move all of your belongings to your new destination. For me, I rented out something called a U-Box from U-Haul, and it's basically this big shipping box, and that was the easiest way I could have moved my stuff. Like, it did cost me a couple $1,000s, but it was so worth it, because U-Haul literally drops this box off to your house. They leave, you pack it up, they come back and get it, and they ship it all the way to your final destination. So all you have to worry about is getting yourself there. Then when you get there, the box is already at your destination. You unpack it and then they come and get it. Like, it was so stress-free and so wonderful. And you know, I did pack a lot of other things in my car, but that was so stress-free. I highly recommend doing that. There's just no other way. I couldn't even imagine hitching something to the back of my car. Like, I was not trying to do all that. Now, my final step is to try to be aware and to be mindful that a lot of things are going to change for you. And if you're watching this video, then that's probably something that you want. But I don't really think a person can understand the magnitude of what that means until you're actually living it. You will change. Your mindset will change. The people that you've known your entire life will change. They will start to act or seem different to you. You will feel out of the loop sometimes, and sometimes you may even feel alone, especially if you moved by yourself, not knowing anybody the way that I did. And you know, it can be hard sometimes. I literally don't feel like the same person anymore. I don't feel like the same person I was a year ago, not even a little bit. But I can say that I do feel like I'm getting closer and closer to the person that I want to be. And in order to get there, I had to shed away some of the old to make way for the new. Moving across the country was literally the best decision I've ever made, because it forced me out of my comfort zone in every single aspect of my life. And my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner, because the people I've met, the experiences that I've encountered, the memories I've made, the milestones I've accomplished, the obstacles I have conquered have literally all been worth it. And I don't know what it is, but when I'm driving through the city, especially at night with like all the lights and everything, I could literally cry. I don't know what it is. It's just, it's beautiful to me. It's big and miraculous, and it kind of just, the best way I can describe it is, it kind of feels how it feels when you see a rainbow. Like, it kind of just feels like a promise. And I don't know if I love the city because of the things that it has already brought me, or because of the things that it has the potential to bring. Maybe it's a mixture of both, but whatever it is, it's literally magical, and I think everybody should be able to experience the magic of moving away and starting a new life. I really do. So if this video inspired or motivated you in any way, then I think I did my job. And I just ask you to please leave me a comment and let me know. And please subscribe to my channel. It would mean so much to me. Thank you so much for watching this video if you've made it this far. And good luck on your journey to starting a new life. Bye.